describe the art of the crowd hype and where you draw your inspiration from?
For me, crowd hype is so important because I try to go into it as if it's not a basketball game, because you can't rely on winning. No one's team is perfect, so you can't rely on winning. So I try to make moments. So whether it's you being recognized, you getting a chance, you laughing at someone, you connecting with something we said, you winning something, those are moments for people. A lot of people with the NBA, it's not as niche as the WNBA. So people might come to a game because they're at a business meeting and someone invited them to a game. So they're not always invested in the teams. So I think it's our responsibility to make them hype around something else.
Right before you start it, like the moment right before you start, you almost feel like you have this responsibility. You feel like almost like it's up to you to get the whole place into this mood, right? And literally right before it, my mind is probably thinking about like Twizzlers or something. But like right as I know it's time for me to hype the crowd, for some reason I feel like I have this responsibility where it's just like, I gotta make these people like get that sports pride and just rah. So like it's this really cool feeling. Like for a split second then you stop feeling anything, you just kind of get your words out. And then when you always have like this little nervousness after you've done your first whatever to like see. And then once the crowd responds and you did well, you're like, yeah! Like, and then you're just hyped with the people. Like, that's the best breakdown that I could possibly think of. And I go through those series of emotions like every time. I will say in my earlier parts, I was just trying to scream. Like, I was just trying to scream loud. And then I learned very quickly, like, you're just a guy screaming and thousands of people are looking at you like you don't know what you're doing. So you learn quickly it's not about the volume, but it's about what you're saying, how you're delivering it, and like the realness and the passion and you like kind of becomes contagious.
That's it's unique because again, he just brought up you can't just be like, it's time, you gotta make noise. Why aren't you making noise? Get loud. Why aren't you loud? So that wasn't my impression of you, by the way, just so you know. But it's I try, and this is something I take pride in, and it's because I learned early. You can't, first of all, you can't start at 10, and the other thing is you can't just say make noise, because guess what? If I bought a ticket, I'm the person that looks at what we do and goes, nah, I'm good. So I've challenged myself to say something that would make me care. So I'm like, hey, perfect example, WNBA Aces late in the fourth quarter, down by 5. Camera comes to me, Pat cues me, and I'm like, you're going home in a few minutes, but you don't want to go home losing. We ain't here to lose. I'm like, imagine how much better the rest of your day is going to be if we win. Let's go. And I try and avoid. It gave me goosebumps a little bit. I missed this.
I was about to start screaming right now.
I'm like, let's do it.
So I try and, depending on the situation we're in, I try and paint the picture that people are thinking anyway. Listen, I bought this seat tonight. I didn't come here to watch us lose. He's right. So I just try and mold it to the situation we're in, because you can't be like, hey, it's the fourth quarter, time to get up and get loud. Hey, it's the third period, we're down by 1. Because in my seat, I'm like, yeah, I see the score. Like, get back to the game. So I just try and relate it to really what the situation is for an individual person sitting in the seat.
I wasn't comfortable with the pump-ups originally. And originally when I started emceeing, that wasn't my role. We had another MC that did the pump-ups. I did a lot of the contest stuff. And then when that MC had left, they kind of put the pump-ups onto me. And, just like all of you guys, like, if you've never done it, there's an art to it. There's a cadence to the way you speak, the way, you build up toward kind of your crescendo where you want the crowd to get really nuts. But what I've found for us in Sacramento that has really worked is this element of tradition. And, I think as the creative director for entertainment, I struggle with innovating new things and still holding on to sports traditions. So one thing that we've done that's been successful is there's a pump up that I do at tip off, and it's kind of the same script, but I'll adjust it based off of the opponent, how we've been playing. And then in the fourth quarter, we do a pump up right between the third and fourth quarters that is been very theatricalized. It's me and Slamson. He's up on stilts, and I kind of have stuck to the same script. I drew a lot of my motivation very early on, and still to this day, from WWE, which I still am probably one of the biggest WWE fans. It's my cross to bear. That's the one thing I never outgrew.
Same. Same.
Sweet. She knows.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if any of you guys watch WWE, and if you don't, I really do encourage you to. Even Pat, and people who have Pat's role, I honestly believe WWE does the best job of producing live entertainment, because really at its core, it's two people in spandex fighting, and it's a very turn of the century, like Dukes put them up, kind of like a turn of the century 1920s. Like, it's an old art form, but it's cool still, because they theatricalize and they put characters and music and specific traditions and catchphrases to these guys. These people have become larger than life. So very early on, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be Chris Jericho. I'm going to be The Rock. So when I am doing these traditional pump ups, like, I'm cranking it up to 11, and in my mind, I am The Rock, and I am, gesturing around like a pro wrestler. And so they have worked because they have stood the test of time, and they are traditions. When there's kind of that late fourth quarter pump up, like Big D said, you really have to read the moment. And I think what's special is the trust between the director or the stage manager and the MC, is that, at least from what I've noticed, I haven't been getting sent out when the moment isn't right. If we just went down by 4 or 5 points and the energy got sucked out of the room, and the Kings realized that, the audience realizes the Kings might not win this game, we don't immediately hammer them home with a "get loud, get on your feet." We try to, kind of massage it back in. So we might do something quickly with Slamson or with just my voice. So there is an art to when you do your pump ups as well, right? Like, somebody's point, I forget, you don't go straight into a 10 right at the first quarter break. You build up to it. And, I think we've all seen, unfortunately, bad MCs. And so we know how annoying a less strong MC can be. I remember I was in Disneyland once, and I did a half marathon at 5 a.m, and people were tired and they're stretching and they're getting ready to run. And this guy was at an 11 out of 10. And I'm just like, oh God, is that what I sound like? I hope that's not what I sound like at home. And so ever since that experience, I've tried to be cognizant about, how much energy. I try to match the level of the energy and where we want them to kind of go. Like, we don't hit them too high, we don't hit them too low, we hit them just.
You're right, though. There's definitely an art form, and especially with that skill set in that moment, that if it can make or deter an audience in an atmosphere pretty quickly.